realestatewholesalerclub.com. I'm Justin Chamnus, and it's that time again. It's time for the Saturday Shut Up Money Show. That's a public Q&A, which you see right here, public Q&A. If you want to join in the Zoom room, you can. It's www.zoomjustin.com. Take you right here to the Zoom room with us. And the password is money. If it asks for a password, it's just money. You know, money's always the password. If you want to find out more about us, we are realestatewholesalerclub.com. And again, this is the Saturday Shut Up Money Show. I'm glad everybody that participates and watches and joins in and comments and does all the things that they do. I'm so thankful for you. God bless you. It's awful early on Saturday morning. So get your Cheerios out or your, Fruity Pebbles. That's one of my favorites. I also like Cookie Crisp. Get some of that out. And let's talk about real estate. Let's talk about being a real estate entrepreneur. Entrepreneur. I've always been addicted to that word. There's something fascinating about the word entrepreneur to me since I was a little kid. Since I was a small child, the word entrepreneur has fancied me. It really has. Something special about being an entrepreneur. I knew the first time I heard it and somebody told me what it was, that's what I wanted to be my whole life. And if you're out there and you feel the same way, right there, all the love. But just because you feel that way doesn't mean it's easy. Just because you're called maybe to be an entrepreneur, let's say you're called. My mom and dad are ministers, so everything is, they talk about things a lot in reference to a calling. Like they used to say school teachers had a calling, you know. Police officers have a calling, or ministers have a calling. It's not just a desire to do a career. It's deeper than that, let's say. Even if you feel called to be an entrepreneur, if there is such a thing, it doesn't mean it's easy. We bring a lot of baggage into this stuff. We bring a lot of personal stuff into this game, and I want to visit a little bit today about some of that stuff. What's going on, Jerry? Good to see you here, man. It's good to see Tim here and Donald. Donald's one of my favorite people too. Sandra, welcome. It's your first time here. I saw you just recently joined the VIP group coaching. Thank you, Sandra. If it's Sandra, please forgive me. Dion, what's going on? And we always have folks out there watching us on YouTube and on Facebook. I wanted to personally welcome you. Thank you for being here. I want to spend a little time today answering your questions about real estate wholesaling, but I also want to jump into a topic and just get some feedback, get you guys talking with me about a topic here. So I want you to feel free to unmute your microphones, turn your cameras on. Turn them cameras on so we can see your beautiful faces, and let's interact a little bit today. I want to share screens here, and I want to go to a clear blank page here, and I want to go into a topic characteristics of successful investors. That's the topic I'd like to talk about today. Characteristics of successful real estate investors. Good to see Denise B and Lola J. Lots of people. You guys really support this show. I call everything we do a show. I don't know why. I guess it makes me feel like Donald Trump or something. Characteristics of successful investors. But let's talk about something else first. It's good to see Mark here. Mark's new in the VIP. Characteristics of losers. 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 You remember everybody used to put the L on their forehead? I miss that. When is that going to come back? When's that going to come back? The L on the forehead. I'm just going to start out with some words. Does anybody have any? Give me some words that would describe. Give me some words that would describe a loser. What are some characteristics of a loser? Let's talk about that first. I mean, we've got a slick board over here where we have characteristics of successful investors. We're going to list off some of those. But before we do that, let's talk about what we're not. Sometimes in order to find out what you are, you have to eliminate what you're not, right? So let's talk about first characteristics of losers. Does anybody have a characteristic of a loser? Somebody put something in the chat here. Let me see if it's a characteristic of a loser. Blame. Oh, okay. The blame game. Sandra, I said it right the second time. Okay. Blame game. That's an interesting one. I don't remember who said that, but that's a good one. CJ Johnson says, aloha, wholesalers, always being negative. Always negative. What's another word for being negative? Pessimism? Did I spell that right?
Looks
Pessimism.
right.
Pessimism. Pessimism. Let's take a look at that for a second. I want to see something here. Pessimism. What is pessimism? Pessimism here. I got a definition. Pessimism is a tendency to see the worst aspect of things or believe that the worst will happen. A lack of confidence in the future. Look at this. Philosophy of pessimism. A belief that this world is as bad as it could be or that evil will ultimately prevail over good. So do we have that pessimism? Is that always negative thing? Is that the quality of a loser? Is that a good definition for the quality of a loser? Pessimism, belief that bad's always going to somehow win. This will never work out. This will never be what I thought it was going to be. Well, sure, that person did it, but I can't do it because, man, that's interesting. Isn't it interesting how these two concepts, the first two, yeah, I hear some background noise too. I don't know who it is. If you guys can watch that, that'd be good. Okay, I think I took care of it, Rick. Sorry. Isn't it interesting how these two concepts, the first two things we named, the always being negative, what do people that are always negative or these people that are pessimists, what do they always do? They always blame everything, right? They've always got a damn excuse. They blame everything. Pessimistic, yeah.
Yeah, I'd have to admit that in my younger days, I was a pessimist. Just everything sucked until a friend told me, "Dude, you suck freaking hanging around with, man, because you're always negative about everything." And that's the first time that anybody actually told me that. And I was like, "Well, what are you talking about?" And then he told me that I just, was so negative, he didn't want to hang out. And I was like, that blew me away. And I was like, wow, I didn't realize that I was that negative because I was looking at the world and I saw what I saw and I wasn't happy with it. But then I started hanging around with people that looked at a different view, which I really didn't know there was a different view because I was looking at the same thing they were, but I had a different view. So it's actually a mental thing that we got, just like is to change your mind, is learning how to change your mind about things. And it's been well, a lot of years has taken me to learn how to switch my view. It's a mental block. It definitely is.
It's a good point that you make, and I appreciate you sharing that, Philip. It's never anyone more annoying really than the guy or gal that's hanging around you that is just a negative bastard all the time.
Yeah.
Also, I remember when I was a younger guy hanging out with another guy that always talks about his current girlfriend constantly. You know what I'm talking about? Like, this dude will not shut up about her, and I'm so tired of hearing her. You know, I wish they just go ahead and break up already, don't you? I'm supposed to be his friend. And yeah, so there's that, but then yeah, the negativity. Yeah. Where do we learn this? Where do we learn? To me, this whole thing we're talking about here, I think we could say it in a different way. Let me write it in a different way here. Negative pessimism goes to blaming, and you said another word in there. What was it?
I don't know. I don't know. I looked at it, everything from a different point of view. I saw the world differently.
Yeah. It's how do we get into this game, this negative pessimism, blame, excuses game? How do we learn this game? Where did we all learn it at?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think sometimes I hate to say this because I don't believe it now, because I totally believe that you can change your circumstances to changing your mind, but how you grew up. I mean, if you had somebody teaching you this, or you grew up with that, it's an automatic thing now. Everything just sucks. My dad says it sucks. My uncle says it sucks. So therefore it must suck.
Yeah.
The government sucks. Everybody sucks. So it's a product of your environment. However, man, when I look back, nobody ever told me that I could change my mind, that I didn't have to agree with those people, with my dad, with my uncles, with my family members or whoever, even my friends, that I didn't have to agree with that.
Right.
If I saw it different, well, I could just say, I don't see it that way. But when you're young, you're worried about having friends and hanging out and all that stuff. So, that's the way. I hate to say the product of your environment, but some people, they just grow up that way until you teach them how to think differently.
Yeah. Yeah. Negative pessimism is a game that we learn as a child. Mommy, this hurts. Mommy, I don't like this. Mommy, this doesn't taste good. Mommy, I can't go down the slide. I remember when you guys are going to call the police and have them come arrest me today for child abuse, because I did it, man. You guys are like, what? What'd he say? He's a child abuser? Hold on. Let me finish the story. I got a little kid. He's not so little anymore, but when he was younger, now I'm not talking like real young. He's probably 7, 8 years old. I took him to the water park at Great Wolf Lodge. Got a room and everything. We're at the water. They got an indoor water park and all this stuff. It's really awesome. They got these big slides and everything. I take him up there on the slides, and he doesn't want to go down the slide. And I'm like, this is why we're here. I just paid tons and tons of glorious money for us to come up here and stare at the top of this slide. So I was like, no, I tried this. I tried my whole sales techniques. I was like, I mean, it would be fun, don't you think? Like I'm trying to tie him down and everything. This is definitely, exciting, and that's what you want, right? I'm trying everything I can with the 7-year-old boy. It's hard to talk him into something they don't want to do. But this whole slide concept is going downhill that fast with no control is just, this is not something he's into at the very moment that he's at the top. And it's not even one of those big ones. It's kind of a mediocre slide even. But this negative pessimism, it started to make me a little upset, starting to get a little frustrated. And I remember being at the top of this slide, and I picked him up. You know, he's little enough I could pick up, and I picked him up, and he's like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" And I set him down on top of the slide. Dad, no, I don't want to do this. Don't do it. Don't do it. I peeled his fingers off of the slide and I pushed him. He goes down screaming, "No!" Pessimist. I'm not going to have fun even if you force me. Well, he got to the bottom of the slide and he ran up the stairs as fast as he could. I loved it. It was the best thing I've ever done in my whole life. This negative pessimism it's a thief, right? It steals your opportunities for growth and for success and for adventure.
Yeah.
Here's one somebody said. Lazy. Procrastinator.
Yep.
What is that? What is a procrastinator? What's procrastination?
Putting things off so you can do them later, or supposedly you'll say that, you know, I'll just do it later. Something you don't want to do, basically.
I find procrastination to be an honesty problem. I'm not going to say that people that are procrastinators are liars. I'm just going to say they have a truth management issue. Does anybody ever? I'm not saying you're a liar. I'm just saying you got a truth management issue. That's a nice way of saying you're a liar, right? So
you're fooling yourself is what it is. So just be truthful with yourself.
Yeah, you're not being honest with yourself. Yeah, exactly. Not being honest with yourself. I'm gonna put that down here. Dishonesty with oneself. You know, why say you're going to do something? Why think about it and think about it and think about it and think about it and never do it? Wouldn't it be easier to just say, yeah, I'm not going to do that? Wouldn't it be more freeing? Wouldn't it save you money? Think of all the gym memberships that I've bought in my life. And then
think about how people continue to buy courses because it makes them feel better in the moment.
Well, see, I was going to say that, Rick, but I didn't want anybody to not buy my courses.
Sorry about that.
So that's why I brought up the gym membership. See, I don't care if they go to the gym. I want them to still buy courses. No, I'm just kidding, Rick.
Oh, my bad. We'll have to edit. Somebody timestamp that so we can edit that later.
That's great. No, you're right, man. Wouldn't you save money if you just was honest about it? Was like, no, I'm never gonna actually pick up this phone. I'm just not that guy. Or maybe, I'm not trying to discourage anybody this morning, but there is some truth to that, Rick. I mean, I wholeheartedly agree with you there.
Yeah, I've done it myself.
Oh, gosh.
There's two ways to check, to think about it. Like Justin said, be real and say, hey, I don't think I am a phone guy. I'm just not. Or you can change your mind and say, okay, I'm not a phone guy, but I'm willing to be trained to be a phone guy. And just change your mind on it just because you're not good at it. Well, then how are you going to get good at it if you don't do it? So.
Yeah, that's it. So maybe it's not a dishonesty with oneself. Maybe it's not a truth management issue. In some cases, maybe laziness is springing up from the fountain of a lack of willpower. What do you think about that?
Yeah. Yep.
I want to lose weight. I'm trying to lose a little bit of weight. I'm trying to come up in the world here a little bit. So, like I was pretty thin. You guys saw me. I wasn't heavy or anything, but this lockdown's been a bitch, man. I mean, I've gained some serious weight here. Like I said the other day, I've got the COVID 35. I don't know about COVID-19, but I got the COVID 35. It's right around my, honestly, it's in my tits and my belly. I don't know. It's like all right there, you know, and then some right here. I hate that. Oh gosh. I want to lose weight, but you know, that requires me exercising every day, which I'm cool with. And that also requires me to late at night turn down the cheese puffs.
Carbs.
But man, my willpower, gosh, my willpower is just not, it's not what I wish it was, really, you know.
Just grow a goatee, man.
Just grow a goatee. What's that gonna, oh, so cover up my double chin.
Yeah.
Is that why so many dudes have goatees to cover up the double chin?
Well, I don't know about that, but if it works.
That's a good idea though. Will versus resolve. Maybe we could say they lack willpower. We could say they lack resolve. We've heard both of those words in our lives. What do they mean though? Well, I highlighted this definition of comparisons here. Comparison of definitions. As verbs, the difference between willpower or will and resolve is that will is to wish. Desire or will can be to wish, desire, while resolve is to find a solution to a problem.
There you go.
So what we have here is lack of willpower, meaning a lack of desire. They just don't have the want to. Losers just don't have the want to. Right? Or we could say it is a lack of resolve, which is a lack of resolve, according to that definition, resolve is a willingness to solve the problem. A lack of resolve would be
not having the willingness.
Yeah, not having, or a lack of willingness to solve the problem. Lack of resolve, lack of desire, lack of willpower. Maybe that's why we procrastinate. Maybe we do. I think you could tag onto this the same concept here. We could say lack of self-control. I have said this before, and I'm going to say it again probably another million times in my life, I hope. And that is, I really, 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 really believe that inside of us, we all have a wounded child somewhere. There's a little kid inside you somewhere. And he's probably got some bruises and some scratches and some dings and some dents, but he's in there somewhere. Used to, he was on the outside. And when the kid was on the outside, mom or dad or both, or stepdad or stepmom or some parental figure did a lot of the thinking for us. See, that's what gets me about being a parent, is I'm like, I can't believe how much thinking I have to do for you. Like, for real, are you really going to wash your dish from dinner, you know, rinse it off and wipe it down, all that, and then walk away with the water running? Has anybody ever seen a kid do that?
No, but yeah, they do some crazy stuff.
I have more than once. You know, I'm like, okay, here, I got to do the thinking for you again. Hold on. What do we do when we're done with the water? What's the first thing you do when you're done with the water? Okay. See, when you're a kid, somebody helps you do the thinking and parenting. But when you turn 18, it's like a magic switch goes off. They let you go. Okay, you're an adult now. Bada bing, bada boom. Welcome to the world of responsibility. No one's going to parent you like that anymore. No one's going to do all the thinking for you and make sure you're where you're supposed to be and doing what you're supposed to do. And you know, most of us in the public schools that we've been brought up in, myself included, we're just totally, completely, 100% unprepared to parent ourselves. Parent yourself. You are the first child. I don't care if you've got 5 kids running around your house. The very first kid that you have to take care of and manage is this up here, right? That's the way I see it. It's your brain, your mind, yourself. If you're out of control, those kids are lost. Am I right?
Yes.
Yeah. So the very first kid is you. What more can we say about procrastination and lack of desire and these other loser ass qualities?
Well, most of them are closed-minded, really. Most losers are very closed-minded with no ambition.
Would that be, is that synonymous?
Synonymous.
Hey, Rick, is that cinnamon with naivety?
We can go with that. Kind of puts me in the holiday negative spirit.
The holiday negative spirit. What was the word you used? Closed-minded or
And
naive?
no ambition, right? But
No.
that kind of falls under.
No ambition, no drive.
Yeah. So I feel like no ambition and no drive falls into the lazy procrastinator, lack of resolve, self-control dude.
Yeah.
Y'all feel like that?
You know what I've noticed too, man, even with my own kids, is their personality. You know, my kids have totally different personalities. One's a go-getter and one is just, and if you're I call them hippies because freaking they don't really want to do anything. They just want to kick back and smoke pot and that's it. You know, it's like, well, what the hell? You know, it's like, go do something.
On the phone all day long.
Yeah, it's like, well, go do something. Like, you know, they don't even know how to go outside and because they just want to be on their computer. It's like, go somewhere, get out of here. But yeah, and the other one's just out and about riding his bike or gets on his motorcycle, does his thing. The other one just sits there. So I don't know. It might be a personality thing. I'm not too sure.
I got the same problem, bro, with my kids, and
Yeah,
I'm wondering if it's a hopeless fear of the unknown. That's what I wonder. I wrote that down because I relate.
Yeah, one likes to explore, and the other one.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? It's like it's a totally different mindset, and they're.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, well.
Yeah. So, you know, we all, again, I think that confirms that we learn or have some of these things ingrained maybe from birth. I don't know. I have a hard time believing it come from birth. I think we learn these traits along the way pretty quickly. That's my guesstimate. And the reason I guess that is because everyone you know here was born, right? Yeah. Everyone you know on this planet was born. Like I know I love it when females say that having a baby is a miracle. You know what? It is a miracle. But in a way, it's kind of like natural too, right? Because it's the way nature works. And so in a way, I feel like we all start at the same point of being a blank slate. You ever hold a baby, brand new baby? You know, it didn't take me long. The first when I had my first son, I held him in my arms in the hospital, Most beautiful thing. I felt like a chamber in my heart opened up, and I felt love in a way I'd never had before. I understood life in a way I never did before. And I take him home. We start changing those diapers. We start giving baths. We start feedings and waking up in the middle of the night several times and all of that stuff. We went through the whole routine, and I realized pretty quickly that this is probably a human baby is probably the dumbest thing on the earth. Like, I don't mean to sound negative, but it literally knows nothing. It literally knows nothing. Like, literally a baby comes out of the womb. It has to be, many times it has to be taught how to suckle. Like, put it up, touch the lips and get it, it needs to learn how to eat. It needs to learn how to do everything. It knows nothing except what you expose it to, and it starts soaking it in like a sponge and becoming something. But let's rewind a little bit for 1 second. Bear with me while I entertain you with the tale of your history, because before you were born, that blank slate that eventually got some pollution in it through its environment, before that happened, you were just a twinkle in mama's eye or daddy's eye. Right? You didn't exist in this reality the way we see you today. And there was a twinkle and there was a magical moment between mama and daddy, biological. And next thing you know, there's 60 million, 80 million, 150 million sperms are released into the situation. And they say that because of the environment of the female's body, that army of sperm, most of them die almost immediately in a liquid that they're swimming in. They die, and only one makes it to the egg and gets inside. That was you. That day, on that day, you swam through the corpses of your dead comrades, determined to reach the goal, beat everyone else of the millions and millions and millions of competitors for the right to sit in that chair you're sitting in today. What the fuck happened? Right? What the fuck happened? What the fuck happened to me? I used to be a winner. I beat 60 million just to get here, just to get in this game. Now look at me. I'm sucking air, right? That's it. Sucking air. You used to be a winner. So I think a lot of these traits we pick up during our lives, during our time here. Let's look at another one. I want to share the screen one more time and show you a definition. Complacency. This is another quality or characteristic of a loser. A feeling of smug or uncritical satisfaction with oneself or one's achievements. Okay, what does that mean? Somebody tell me.
Some people have a really good job and they don't feel a need. Their why isn't big enough to make the changes to be successful in like another venture.
I remember being broke, and when I say broke, I mean broke dick. Pardon my foul language, but man, you know what I mean when I say I am broke dick. Like I don't have 2 nickels to rub together. But I did get that utility bill paid and the rent's good, so I'm gonna sit here on the couch and take a break. Is that complacency? Is that a definition of complacency, Rick? Is that what you mean?
Satisfaction.
Well, to some people, I guess it could be. I mean, I've talked to people that have had, different types of positions, and they just kind of felt like they made it in a sense, right? And they didn't really have much of a need to do anything else because they felt secure. So they didn't feel like a change was needed. And then 2 years down the road, there's a big cut. Suddenly they're a part of that cut. So like everything changed, right? I mean, like a corporate restructure, and everything changed. And it kind of forced them to change their mindset. And I think that happens to a lot of us, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's definitely complacency. That's definitely complacency. I'm so comfortable. You know what? That is one of the problems that we have here in the United States as far as the citizenry goes. I think we're all so damn comfortable. As long as you don't mess with our circus and our bread, we're fine. You know, keep the damn toilet paper on the shelves and keep the football game on TV, and everybody will be fine. We're kind of comfortable here. I don't really, you know what? I don't really need to do this. We talk to a lot of homeowners that are very complacent, in my opinion. They're comfortable enough. It doesn't matter if, well, we don't need to sell. We don't want to sell necessarily, but what about this one? Attitude of scarcity. Lack-minded. Losers always worrying about the damn money. Losers are always worrying about the money, worrying about it. And let me tell you something. If you're in a position of lack where you don't have the funds, you don't have money problems. Trust me. You have no money problems. When you get money, you'll figure out what money problems are. And they're quite a bit different than the no money problems that you're experiencing now. So attitude of scarcity, lack-minded. There's not enough money. I don't have enough money to do this. I don't have enough money to do that. I'll get this business started when I have, this, or when this falls into place. And folks, it's been said before that if you're waiting on the circumstances to align rightly before beginning, you'll never get started. You'll never get started. The stars are never really truly going to align. That's just a fairy tale. You got to get out there and start something, right? But what if I don't have the money? Yeah, well, what if you lack the creativity? That's probably the better question. What about this one? This is a good one here. Somebody talk to me about this one. Low self-esteem. What do I mean when I say low self-esteem? Everybody in here ought to know what that is, because, I mean, hell, in public schools now, and even when I was in public school, they wanted to talk about my healthy or unhealthy self-esteem.
Well, I think that's a problem right now with kids. Really, it really is. But I believe that we baby them too much, so they can't, start to figure it out themselves. You can have a talk with them and stuff like that. But that's why kids are cutting themselves. That's why they have a lack of doing whatever, because for whatever reason, and I don't know, I've been seeing throughout the years where it's just they don't have a lack, or they have a lack of esteem, and I just don't know why. I don't understand it. I mean, they could be rich, they could be poor, but they're still have that lack of esteem. I don't understand it myself. I get frustrated because all the opportunity is there. The opportunity is there if you want it, but you have to get up and get it. But people, I think it comes up on laziness, is they don't want to, because they just want everything given to them. It's like, here's this, here's that, and they don't want to get up off their butt and actually do it. They just want, because, I mean, I read somewhere where a kid was suing their parents because they didn't want to give him money to go to college. So he decides instead of trying to go get a job, he's just going to sue his parents. Is that retarded? To me,
Yeah. I think I saw that on Dr. Phil, man.
It's like, what? You're suing your parents? How about you just go get a job? How about that? You know, there's plenty of jobs out there, but he didn't want to do it. So I think, I don't know, it's the laziness and the self-esteem kind of like they go together for whatever reason.
It's an entitlement spirit.
Yeah, the entitlement. I was gonna say.
Yeah.
I'm going to write that down because Mark said that too.
Definitely a lack of confidence.
Yeah. I mean, the cutting thing, a lot of kids are cutting themselves because they're going through pain. And I'm like, well, what kind of pain could you actually be going through to do that? You know, and maybe they are. I don't know. Maybe their house stinks. Maybe they're getting abused. Maybe whatever. But some of these people, they're not getting abused. Their parents are just hammering them to go do something. Do something. And they get all, oh, you know, it's like, what? Yeah. It's just like, that's weird. My parents were, the tough love that they gave me pushed me to go do something. But then everybody just wants just to coddle, you know, oh, my poor kid.
Right.
No, man, you're not helping that kid out, you know?
Right. Everybody want to be buddies with their kids instead of being a parent, man.
Yeah,
everybody
they want to be their friends.
Because they didn't have when they was growing up. So they want to, you know, go overdo it with their kids because they didn't have it when they was growing up. So they want to overdo it. And it ends up hurting the kid.
Yeah, it ends up hurting the kid for sure.
So this low self-esteem issue that we and children and everyone deals with, what is its truest root, or maybe what is its cure? Does anybody have any ideas? I have an idea, but I want to hear if anyone else has any ideas about cures or therapies for this low self-esteem.
I think if they're young kids, throw them in athletics. You know,
Why though?
Because it pushes you. You know, you're surrounded by other people who are leveling up in the sport that you're in. You at a young age, you want to gain the appreciation and the encouragement and the love from your coach and the respect from your coach. And you want, you start doing good, you get praise and it feels good. And then it kind of shapes something in your mind and your mentality that, if I get better at this, not only will he appreciate me, but other people around me will appreciate me. They said, what a good job you did.
Yeah.
So I think it kind of changes their mindset when throwing into something like that.
I do too. I think so too. I think the answer for that's what I was going to say too, Nick, is the low self-esteem answer is to have more pressure, more independence thrust upon you, and the answer to it really ultimately is to go out there and win. If you can play the game and you play it hard, whether that's soccer or whether that's real estate or whatever, it doesn't matter. You play the game, you play it hard, you win. What happens to your self-esteem then? I'll tell you what, I was in intramural, or I don't know if intramural, I don't even know what that fucking word means, but I think that's what they called it when I was in school, like 5th grade basketball. I played on a team called the Satellites, and I was pretty bad personally. Actually, the whole team sucked, and we were like the worst team in the entire league. But we played another team one day, one game. We played the Cougars, and I scored a basket in that game. The only basket I scored the whole season. And when I scored it, man, I was running up the court with that extra oomph, and I was doing this little dance and everything. And my dad was like, "What was that you were doing out there? You look goofy." See, it did wonders for my self-esteem to just finally win. I mean, how many of us in here need the last time you hit a good lick was in the 80s. You know what I mean? Like you got to hit, it's time to win again, at whatever cost. I got one more, and then we're going to switch to characteristics of success here. What about this? Disorganized.
That's huge. That's huge.
Yeah. Why is that huge, Nick? Tell me.
Because it's or like what we were talking about the other day in the other video. It's like you set up your week. If you're not organized with the things that you need to get done, how do you even know what your process is? How do you feel overwhelmed, and then when you feel overwhelmed, your self-esteem will get hurt. Your lack of motivation because it's just too much. You're overwhelmed. I'm not even going to look at it. Having it disorganized can really
Yeah.
ruin your first step.
Yeah. When I was coming up in sales, I learned pretty quickly that when you walk into somebody's house and their house is like a pack rat house, like a hoarder house, like there's animal feces over under the table, and there's dishes piled up on the counter, and there's clothes spread out all across everything, and there's just shit laying around everywhere. That person is not a slob because they just don't know how to pick shit up. They're a slob because something's disorderly up here. They got some kind of disorder going on in their mind. Now, maybe not a medical disorder, but there's something not quite organized up here. And this is a reflection of what's going on in here. Okay. Disorganized. That's a great one. Disorganized. How many of us here are still falling prey to that? I hope you guys are enjoying these. If you're on my routine for the texting and calling and all that, I hope you're enjoying these little cues I've been putting out this week. You know, today is Signature Saturday. That means we're following up with the calls from yesterday, the day before, and we're going for signatures today. Tomorrow is going to be Scraping Sunday. Okay. Monday will be Marketing Monday when we set up our text blasts, and then we got Tuesday and Wednesday off, or it's follow-up days. And then next Thursday, we're going to be doing Texting Thursday again. Okay. So hope you're enjoying that. If you want to get better with the organization, plug into some of this because we're trying to give it to you here. Okay, let's talk about success. These could be the opposites of what we just talked about. So somebody holler out some characteristics of winners now. And if you don't feel like you relate, just think of it. Just go back in time to when you were just a little spermy. Okay. If you feel like a total loser after going through that, just go back in time to when you were a spermy, because that day you were the ultimate champion. Okay. Now, characteristics of success. Anybody got one?
Unwavering confidence.
Unwavering. Unwavering confidence. What do you mean, Nick?
Like you don't sway from it. Like there's nothing that you've had a bad day, but still you're good at what you do, and you know it, and you're confident that you're going to get the results that you want, and you're sticking to it.
Yep. Anybody have anything to add to that?
Relentless.
Wow, man, these are some power words. Relentless, unwavering confidence. We could say it like this. Commitment and dedication, maybe. What do you think about that? What about desire and drive? All the same things? Are these all synonymous with each other? Courage. What about this one? And this one I'm going to separate from that one. Perseverance. What do I mean? Anybody?
You keep going, man, no matter what. Keep fighting.
Why keep fighting? I've got a saying I got it from the Three Stooges, and that's I got your back, man. I'll fight to the last drop of your blood. Yeah. Is that the kind of perseverance we mean?
Well, it's actually just finding a way to make it work, I think. And I have I'm thinking about Henry Ford. He's the one who made the first car, right? So how did he make that work? You know, that was a new way of thinking. It's like the horseless carriage. How did he do that? And I'm pretty sure, as an inventor, he had to think of different things, and I'm pretty sure he didn't get it the first time. I mean, but man, he changed the world.
Yeah, he did. One of the best inventions that Henry Ford ever made was not the Model T. It was the assembly line. How can I make so many cars? I have to sell so many. Perseverance. I like that you said it's being creative. I think in a word is kind of what you were saying.
I think self-discipline should be on the list.
Okay. Self-discipline. Let's talk about self-discipline here in a second. I'm going to write it down. But let's talk about perseverance and creativity, because we are creative real estate investors. Right here, does anybody, I need vocal because we're sharing screen. Anybody here feel like they lack in the creative real estate business, that you're doing lease options, you're doing subject to, you're doing other things? Do you feel like the creativity and how to come up with the deal structures and how to make the offers and what to offer, the creativity part, is that where anybody willing to say, yeah, I kind of struggle there? Yeah. Okay.
I do.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
For sure. Yeah. Me too. You're not alone. I work at it all the time, and I get advice, and I get,
One
people to
trick
help
pony.
me too. I don't want to be a one trick pony. Yeah. It has to leave a lot of money on the table. Yeah. Perseverance requires creativity. Let me say this before we move to self-discipline. Problems in your business and problems in your life always lead to two types of thoughts. Normally, when you see a problem that presents itself in the real estate business, let's say you're talking to a motivated homeowner, he comes out with this, yes, I'm willing to do it, but I'm only willing to do it for 12 months, and I'm going to need $10,000 in cash down payment. Oh, that's what most of us do. Oh, man, so close. I guess that one wasn't a deal. You jump to conclusions, okay? You jump to conclusions. That was your conclusion, is that you took the information and immediately concluded that this was not doable. But that's not being very creative, is it?
No.
So where does creativity begin? Well, problems lead to two types of thoughts. If you're not having this, I have a conclusion thought, then you're asking questions, aren't you? I wonder why he says that. I wonder why he needs 10,000. I wonder if he'd take it in 2 payments. I wonder if he'd take it at the end of an inspection period. I wonder if he'd let me raise the purchase price and do no down payment. Or maybe we could split it. Maybe he wants 10,000. Maybe I could raise the purchase price 10,000 and then give him 5,000 in cash down payment. I wonder. Questions lead to creativity. Conclusions or questions. I would gamble in this room, we are all guilty of this, but there are some more guilty than others, that this is happening to your business. This is right here. This is the snake that's eating your deal. Okay. You're running into deals and you jump to conclusions instead of sitting down and thinking and asking these questions. How can I get around this purchase price being a little too high? How can I get around the earnest money being too much or the down payment being too much? How can I get around the 12 months instead of 24 to 36 I asked for? How can I get around these things? Okay. Whatever it is, asking the question. I would bet we're jumping to conclusions. Anybody in here say I'm guilty of jumping to conclusions instead of stopping, pausing, and asking some questions in my mind about this? Yeah. What blows my mind is I have some one-on-one students of mine that come to the table and they'll say, I had 100 leads. I called all of them. This one looked pretty good. That one looked pretty good. The other ones looked okay, but something happened on all of them. And none of them worked out. I'm like, what happened somewhere in there? They heard some information. They got a rebuttal. They got an objection. They got a stall. They got something from the seller, and they jumped to a conclusion that this deal's not going to fit. Why? Because it didn't come in a box with a pretty bow on it. No, you're a creative investor. You solve problems. You don't jump to conclusions, you solve problems. The better the problem, the more thought you have to put into it, maybe. When I was working as an investment banker, that's what they liked about me most. Well, one, they thought I was a likable guy, but two, I like the hard stuff, man. Give me the hard cases. Give me the guy that nobody else can sell, because I will think my way out of that. I'm not going to jump to conclusions. So this is a discipline that you have to practice. You have to remember to pause, get rid of that emotional quality to the conclusion that you automatically jump to, step back from it for a second and ask a few questions and see if there's a way to detour, which I like to think of things as a detour. You know, sometimes you come up to a mountain. Yeah, you can't go over it. This is a problem you can't go over, but sometimes you go around, right? Okay, so you got to learn to practice the stop, pause, think, ask a few questions in your mind before you jump to conclusions. It's okay to go to the VIP room and seek counsel and advice too. That is a discipline.
You could also, because I think as far as newbies, we always think that we have to get that deal right then and there, which would be nice. But if you can't, you know, like you said, follow up, take down some notes, and then think about it, like you said, and then go back to them at a later date. I mean, don't wait a week or anything, but just write it down, like you just said. And because I always be when I'm thinking I wanted the deal now, but if you can't get it now, well, then you kind of get, okay, well that deal sucked. I'm not going to go back to it because just I couldn't think creative about it. But that's what follow up is all about.
Yeah, follow up. I talked to a guy yesterday. Please forgive me. I don't remember who it was because I've talked to 100 people since then. But here's the thing. He was saying somebody wants to put a seller wants me to put a contract on the house that has a tenant in it.
Oh, that was me.
Was it you, Nick?
Yeah.
Yeah. Until next summer.
Yeah.
Tell us that story real quick, Nick.
Well, he's like, yeah, I want to do it. That sounds great. And I said, great, man. And I said, well, when? Oh, you said you mentioned a tenants, and when are they out within the next month? What are we looking at? And he said, well, actually, no, not until the summer. And I said, okay. I said, so if you sold the house, you were just going to kick them out? And he said, well, I mean, yeah, if I got what I wanted. And I just said, well, how about if I give you what you wanted, but we just wait, or we kind of, write it up for the summertime. And he says, what are you talking about? And I said, well, take it off the market. Let's get it locked in at the price you want. And I said, if that's what you want to do, or maybe not. And then that's when he said, yeah, go ahead, send it over. Let me look at it. And he said, I'm not in a hurry, but yeah, if it's what I like, I'll take it off and we'll go ahead and we'll get it in. So I don't know if that's going to work, but yeah, well, I got to call him later on this afternoon.
Well, see, that's a great case in point because there's a situation where the guy seems motivated. He's saying yes. I mean, you still need to close him and all that. I get that. But so far, the guy's on board with you. But the problem is see, the house has a tenant living in it until next summer. Oh, shit. That's not a deal. Forget that one. Rick, what could we do with that one? Be creative with me here, Rick. What could we do with that one? Did you catch that story, Rick?
I caught part of it. Sorry about that. So there's a tenant in the property and the seller's motivated.
Lease option potential candidate homeowner has a tenant in the property until next summer, but he's willing to do the paperwork today. What can you do? I give up. That's just too hard. That's not going to work. That's not the perfect deal with a bow on top. What do we do? Do we jump to conclusions and walk away, or do we ask questions? And what do those questions lead us to? What's some things we could do with that one, Rick? I'm putting you on the spot, buddy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would, of course, you do your normal research, right? See what the tenant's paying, see what he's paying. Take a look at the opportunity. I would look at that to see if I could possibly keep that tenant in place by potentially wrapping it maybe. And working out some numbers that kind of make sense for myself, depending on the end game. But
yeah, so this
scenario, I guess.
Okay, so this could be a creative owner or seller finance situation. that comes with a tenant already in it, paying money every month. Revenue, it's like mailbox money. This is like a deal with a bow on top in disguise.
And some investors are looking for just that.
Yeah.
It depends on how you market it. And I mean, it's already an income producer, right? If the numbers make sense. So there's a few ways to turn it.
Nick, were you tempted when the seller told you this, were you tempted immediately to jump to the conclusion that this was a no-go?
No, because he was motivated as hell, and
Okay.
but I didn't know how to. I wasn't sure if I wanted to in the area where it was do an owner finance on it because I'm so far away, but I didn't know. So I just when he was like, yeah, I'd like to do the lease option. He was all about the lease option, so I didn't want to like change his mind already. But I just said, well, how about we kind of write it up for the time that they're going to be out, and we can go ahead and go with it with that way and get your full price. What you're asking, I don't have a problem with that. But do you, or is that what you want to do? And he's like, yeah, that sounds great. Send it over. But then like I did mention like, well, hey, I'm going to put a call on you tomorrow afternoon, make sure this is everything that you wanted, that it meet all your qualifications. And if it did, what happens next? But I hadn't, but now I think I have a little bit of the opportunity to change it, kind of go in there and say, hey, since they're already in there, I'd hate for you to wait. What about if you became, Frank Federal Institute and I paid you every month,
Or
so
could you put a post-possession clause in there too?
a what now?
A post-possession clause. So when you take over the property, you get a certain amount of time to get it. It just depends on what state is in.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the other thing too. Is I don't know. It's in Ohio, so I don't know exactly what their stuff is compared to, because I'm in Texas, so I don't know exactly how the difference is. But
how many ways is there to skin a cat? You guys heard that old saying? There's more than one way to skin a cat.
Sounds like Nick's gonna get this deal. That's what
I'm
I think.
hoping on it, man.
How many of us in here, anybody willing to admit that when a seller tells you that they're interested, but there's a tenant in it until next summer, how many of you in here would have jumped to the conclusion that that's a no-go deal? Anybody willing to admit that? My first immediate impression was, oh, this might be a no-go. But then I thought, wait a minute, hold on. Oh yeah. There's some things you could do here. You see, that's the difference. Don't jump to conclusions, get in on them questions, start thinking through this stuff a little bit and talking through it and asking through it, other people. Self-discipline, Rick, what are you talking about? Self-discipline, tell me.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Self-discipline?
Yeah, that was your idea, man.
Yeah, you just have to, you have to have a clear idea of what you want, right? And I think your whole desire to succeed, has to be, I think, greater than the consequences of not doing it.
Pain versus pleasure, huh?
Yeah, because I have a problem with self-discipline every time I go to make, not every time, but a lot of times if I have 20 people to call. So yeah, I have that problem myself because I sometimes I just don't feel like getting on the phone. And I really have to stand back and be like, okay, well, if I don't get on the phone, is that going to put me any step closer to where I really want to be? And that answer is no.
Questions. Those are more questions. Yeah, it's interesting. Man, I'm getting lost in deep thought here, Rick. Self-discipline. Go ahead.
Yeah, I wrote down this quote. I don't remember where I thought it. Just said, "The price of discipline is always less than the pain of regret."
Oh gosh, yeah, I heard it like that. Regret, the weight of regret is far more weighty, far heavier than the weight of discipline. Oh man, I gotta believe that. I gotta believe that's true. I've experienced that in my life. If you don't risk anything, you risk even more.
Yep.
It's hard to have 100% control, right? I mean, for myself, um, this is something that it's an ongoing struggle for me. Make calls or play a round of Xbox. No, I'm going to do some Xbox. Call you later, right? I mean, sometimes that happens, man. I mean, I'll be the first to admit.
Well, you got Xbox One or Xbox 360?
Yeah, the one. Yeah. talk later off that. So.
What about education? Is a successful real estate investor an educated dude or dudette?
Yes, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what we're trying to do here. Well, it's a very different topic for us today, by the way. We don't normally talk about this kind of thing. We normally are nuts and bolts real estate. So I appreciate you guys going with me on this. I've just been wanting to do this for 2 or 3 weeks, and I think today was the magical day for me.
That's where you're. I mean, I try to tell more and more people as I have discussions like within different Facebook groups and just about real estate and things that about your group and what you do and how you promote all the training and everything. Because I heard something else too that really kind of stuck with you and it makes sense. And I'm bad at this myself. The more you sweat in training, the less you bleed in combat. Right?
Wow. That's good. That's good. Yeah. Yeah, it's real good.
And that's all about you, man. I mean, that's what you do, Justin. I mean, you're helping everybody not bleed so much.
Mm-hmm. And I will fight to the last drop of your blood. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, man.
Attitude of abundance. Thank you for saying that, Rick. Very kind of you, sir. Attitude of abundance versus what was it on the other page? Attitude of scarcity. Attitude of abundance. Somebody talk to me about this real quick.
Well, I just want to say attitude of abundance. I don't know if anybody, believes in like law of attraction, but that's a huge thing. Like, you attract. So if you're being negative, you're going to attract the vibe. You're going to attract those things to you, and things just won't go the way you want it to. But I believe if you attract the positive mindset, like you get that stuff, and you can control your own atmosphere. The way that you want it to be.
I feel like the attitude of abundance versus the attitude of scarcity. I believe an attitude of scarcity causes people to be stingy and greedy and withhold their own good. In other words, I've got this $250. I could put it into marketing this month, or I could go, well, it's the last 200 I have. I'm not going to get any more. So I don't know. I think I'll just buy a new pair of sneakers. I'll just get a new Xbox One game. You see what I mean? Versus an attitude of abundance.
That you're going to get. So you believe that you're going to get more later. This is not the end. I'm going to get some more later.
Gosh, man. Yeah. I realized a long time ago that there is just there's more money out there. What'd they say? If you stack the deficit in $1 bills, it would reach the moon or some bullshit. That's how much money there is out there, y'all. To the moon and back. And you got 250 of those. Okay, change that. That can change, but it has to start right here, right? Am I right?
Yes.
What about high self-esteem? High self-esteem, how important is that? Confidence, maybe? Unwavering confidence, relentless commitment and dedication, desire and drive, courage. Maybe that's all related to high self-esteem.
Just to ask the question.
Yeah.
Do some people confuse that with arrogance? They think you're arrogant.
Oh yeah. I'm arrogant. Yeah, I try not to be. I work at it. Arrogance is maybe high self-esteem gone off the tracks. Or maybe it's insecurity undercover.
But a lot of people misinterpret that towards you because just because you have a drive on something and they don't, they think trying to be more than what you. No, I just have a drive and you don't.
So high self-esteem is not wavered by others' opinions. Is that what you're saying, Michael?
Yeah.
What about mama though? We still care what mama says?
Mama's the one telling you be extremely high.
That's a whole other subject.
That's a whole other subject.
What about Uncle John and Aunt Cindy? You know, you saw how they looked at me when I was telling them I was a real estate investor at last Thanksgiving. You saw how they looked at me like I was an idiot.
Justin, let me go back a little. When I first met my wife, she really thought I was that way. She was like, when we first got together, she was like, I thought you was the most arrogant person in the world. I was like, no, I'm just confident in what I do. And she actually told me that.
Well, she must have liked you though.
And she did
even with your arrogance.
that's what attracted her to me, because she's never been around anybody like that, she said. But she said, you was probably one of the most arrogant persons I ever met. I was like, no, I'm not arrogant. And I'm just confident.
There you go.
You know what you got and you know how to work it. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
I like it. Not being swayed by others' opinions. How often are we guilty of this? And maybe this is the weak link. You are the weakest link. Goodbye.
Yeah, like Philip said earlier, I mean, a lot of times when you're growing up, people tell you you can't do this, you can't do that. And a lot of times they stick with you, but you got to make them in your mind is, yeah, I grew up in the ghetto, but I'm not going to stay here. And yeah, I grew up in this environment, but I'm not going to stay here. You got to put that in your mindset. That had to be your mindset. Yeah, I was there, but now I'm going this way.
I went to the church house one time and the preacher man said, I don't care if you were born on the wrong side of the tracks, which means the hood, right? That's what he means. He's born in the hood. I don't care if you were born on the wrong side of the tracks. He said, get born again on the other side.
Right. That's right.
Man, that was powerful when he said that. I'll never forget that.
Yeah, it is.
Man. Yeah. I like it. It's sinking in.
Well, he taught you that you're not stuck, right?
Right. I can
There's
be
there's always a direction to go. Pick one.
I can be whoever I want to be.
You are not your circumstances.
I am not my circumstances. I am not what you think about me, Greg. In fact, I bet Greg thinks about me very, very little. In fact, most of us could die today, and 2 weeks later, no one would even be talking about your ass. That's how important you are.
Is this supposed to build my self-esteem?
Yeah, that's how important. This is supposed to set you free, man. Not other people's opinions, they have, if you care too much about what somebody says, if you care too much about what other people think, you should realize that they do so very little of that about you in the first place.
Oh yeah, that's true. They're always thinking of themselves. Most people.
I don't mind playing a little hush mouth with the family. I don't mind playing a little hush mouth with the friends and with the other people. You know who you have to play hush mouth with is those people that as soon as you start talking about this, that the energy in the room changes. Then don't bring it up, dummy.
Yeah.
Right?
That's right.
How long did it take me to figure that out? A while. Like a few years. I'm still trying to convince her that I can do this. 5 years later, then fucking quit. Quit trying to convince her. You know what I mean? Bring a check to the table and then bring it up. When she says, "Where'd you get this money?" Okay, now listen. Shut up. Right? Being experienced, yeah.
Back when you were talking about, I came in late, I apologize for that, but when you were talking about motivation, did people talk about the why?
Yeah, the why. Tell us about it, Greg.
Well, I've heard it said several times, if your why is big enough, you'll accomplish your what.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I sat around all day trying to think up a good why, and I never could come up with a good one. So I just got up and started doing it. You know what I mean?
Well, that would work. That would definitely work. Action does
Yeah.
work. There's no doubt about it. And one of the first things you do learn is activity precedes the result you're wanting.
And an
And you can
increased
manage
self-esteem,
activity.
right? So
Exactly.
activity leads to different results, which leads to a higher self-esteem, which leads to more confidence, which leads to more activity, which leads to, oh my God, it's circular.
Yeah.
Right? Is that what you're saying,
That's
Greg?
called momentum. Yeah.
You know, ride the bull, feel the flow, right? You guys remember Happy Gilmore? Good thoughts in, bad thoughts out. It's circular. Ride the bull, feel the flow.
Give it a little tappy.
Get a little tap, tap, tappy. A little tap, tap, tappy. What about being organized, guys? That's the last thing on the list, being organized.
To me, that's a learned thing, man. Because if I would show you my desk right now, it's insane, you know. But I know where everything is at, you know.
But your background looks so zen.
I'm trying to get there. But yeah, my desk is nasty. But I know where everything's at. It's just, yeah, it takes me time. You know, when people come in here, it's like, man, how come you don't clean your desk? And I'm like, you know what? I should, but I just don't.
I need to stop buying Post-its. Just straight up stop buying them. I mean, really.
Yeah, so organization is a learned thing, and I don't know if your significant other is organized, because I know I'm not organized, but she's organized, and she kind of helps me out stay organized. But it's a learned thing, I think. Not everybody's organized at all. I'm not.
Yep, I agree with you. I agree, Philip. And organization comes from, I think, learning it, being exposed to it, having some good tools. We talk a lot here about the accountability spreadsheet, which is basically your scoreboard. It's the accountability scoreboard, acquisition scoreboard is what it's called. Sorry. Acquisition scoreboard, where you can hit target numbers. You have activity monitoring, where you can monitor what you've done and what days and how much you did. So all that, staying organized. Having a day to do scraping of Zillow and Craigslist Sundays, setting up your text blasts on Mondays to go out on Thursdays, making your pre-qualification calls or your VA doing it on Thursdays, having closing calls on Friday, having signature Saturday. Okay. Organized. Was I born with that knowledge? Hell no. I had to develop it over time, and I robbed and stole every good idea I could. Okay. Organized. That's what we're trying to offer you guys here in the VIP is the education, the experience, the practice, and that rhythm, so to speak. Anybody in here a drummer? Play drums? Anybody in here play drums like a trap set? Drums.
Mark
No,
look like a drummer.
Who is?
Mark look like a drummer.
Mark, you a drummer? I thought he looked like a bass player. You look like a bass player, Mark. You play bass?
Nope, guitar.
He plays the full-blown guitar.
Just learning.
4 strings ain't enough. He said, give me 6.
Exactly.
Well, I've heard from drummers. I play a little bit of drums. When the music comes on and the drummer starts to play the beat, he has to think about the beat. He has to think, okay, all right, I'm getting in there. Yeah, now I'm on the rhythm, right? But after he gets going, he don't have to think about it quite so much. Once you get that rhythm established, it's established. That's it. That's music. But that's life too, right? Organized, a rhythm. Life is a rhythm. Your business is a rhythm. Your team has a rhythm. If the rhythm sucks, change the song. Right? Okay, organize. So we offer 6 VIP sessions here weekly. If you're a one-on-one student, there's 7 sessions that you can be a part of where you can stay right on top every single day, stay with that rhythm, get that rhythm going. What's the hardest part of getting that started? Is getting it started, right? Getting it started. Getting it started is the hardest part. What did they teach us in science class in 8th grade? If I have 1,000-pound concrete ball sitting right here, it's a ball. It should roll. 1,000 pounds. Is it easier to get it rolling or keep it rolling?
Keep it.
Keep it.
It takes so much more force to get it rolling, but once it's rolling, all you need is a little bit of force to keep it rolling. That's 1,000-pound concrete ball. That's your business too. That's you. That's your life. That's this rhythm. So you got to get plugged in where you got this rhythm going. And once you get it going, I promise you, science says that it'll be easier once you get started. Take my word for it and take the scientist's word for it. Have you guys noticed that today science is like a damn religion?
Yes.
Isn't it crazy? It's crazy, but here I am preaching to you the science of it all. If you can get started in that activity, it's easier to keep it going. Let's wrap this up, guys. We've been going for almost 90 minutes. Let's wrap this up. But I want to wrap it up with any comments, questions, anything, any topic, anything that you guys have in your hearts and minds that we need to talk about. Anybody got anything they want to share right now? Good to see Steve pop in here, man. This time difference is a it's a real issue. I'm just kidding, man.
Yes.
I love
Can
you,
you hear
Steve.
me?
Yes, Sandra.
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah. Hi. So I just joined yesterday, and I took a peek at some of the documents that came with the lease option
Okay.
course, and I had a couple questions
Okay.
pertaining to when you're doing virtual lease options in another market when it comes to collecting the option fee.
Okay.
When exactly do you get that from the tenant buyer when completing the closing documents? Do you have them sign the lease agreement first just to get that kind of out of the way and then ask for their option fee before having them sign the lease option agreement and assignment document? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's a good question. So
Okay.
virtually doing a lease option and you have a homeowner that you've got the property under contract and you found a tenant buyer and the tenant buyer is qualified and ready to do the deal with you. You have your paperwork, your closing packet. You're going to, it says under the heading, the title of each page, who's supposed to sign and fill this out. So you can tell that way
Right.
who belongs on this paper. But that tenant buyer, for this example, is ready to go. So how do you collect the money from them and get the paperwork done? What's the timing? What's the order? All that good stuff. And here's how we do it. We have them sign the documents and send us the money at the same time.
Okay.
So it's not like sign the documents and send us the money next Friday. It's sign the documents. And if maybe they only have half today and half next Friday, then send us the half you have today.
Okay.
There's no reason in us doing documents unless money's going to exchange hands.
Right. Okay.
So now with that being said, you'll basically send them the paperwork on Dotloop or DocuSign or something. And then you'll have to tell them how to send you the money. Now it'll either be a wire transfer or PayPal or Cash App or something that you're using, whatever you're comfortable with. So
do you suggest an escrow account or it's not needed?
No, I don't suggest an escrow account because you're going to want to pocket all that money. Okay. If it's a lease option, you're not going to they're not going to open up escrow until like close to the end of the term when they're ready to buy.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then my second question is, if I'm working in another market, what do you suggest is the best way to get a lawyer in another market to view my documents just to make sure that I am complying, you know what I mean, with with that specific state.
Okay.
Because I'm pretty sure that they're not going to want to look at it without me having a deal. Should I suggest that, hey, I have a deal and I want you to look, you know what I mean, to try to get them to look at it?
Okay. In a lease option, let's look at this in the most simplistic way, because that's the way I understand it. Is the country boy way, I guess you could say. And that is, a lease option is up front, on the front side of it, before the lease term begins. It is just a lease agreement or a rent agreement. And you don't, how many of us have ever filled out one of those? Anybody ever filled out a rental agreement for something?
Yeah.
How many times did you need an attorney to do that?
Never.
Never.
Ever.
Right. Okay. So there's a lease agreement, and then there's the option to purchase. Okay.
Right.
Don't confuse that with a purchase and sale agreement, which would be what your tenant buyers are going to need when they
Later
go,
on, after the
Right.
2 years. Right.
So this is just an option to purchase. It literally is, you could do it in 1 or 2 sentences. I, the homeowner, give the exclusive option to purchase to Sandra of this property, address blank, this dollar amount, in this time frame, before this date. That's it. 2 sentences. That's an option. Both of you sign it. That's about how simple it is. You don't need an attorney.
Okay. So I'm in Georgia. So if I'm working, let's say, for example, in Alabama, I don't need an attorney from Alabama to look at my documents to make sure that I'm good for Alabama. That's what I'm trying to say.
No.
Okay.
No, because it's just, it's 2 simple agreements. Very, very simple. The assignment agreement that you're going to use to assign it to your tenant buyers and all of that, that is also very, very, very simple. None of those documents are being filed really anywhere. Everything's very, 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 very kitchen table-y. Okay.
And this, sorry.
Go ahead.
And the assignment agreement, I know that's where it outlines the option fee.
Yes.
So beside that document, do you typically does the homeowner know what you're going to get paid, or no? That's the only time that they're going to see that. That's what I'm like, when you present your proposal to them, when you send, the lease option, the memo, I didn't see anywhere on there that you tell them, you know what I mean, what you're going to make. Like,
correct.
So does it bother them when they see towards the end how much you're going to get paid? Do they fight that, or?
Yeah, that's a great question. Now, see, the documents are coaching documents, so they're for everybody. Right. That's how I put them out there, because I don't know who, or what situation you may be applying these to as your career moves forward while you use these documents. So they're written in a very, very specific way. Yeah. And the way that it's put out there, you'll see that in the option or first right of purchase, which is the option agreement, that it says that the seller has to give permission for you to assign it. Right. So on the addendum, which is the assignment agreement, it says how much you're making, and it asks for the seller's signature. So they will know. If you do not like that, take that clause out of the first right of purchase, or change it to say that the seller does not have to give his permission for you to assign it. And then go to the addendum and erase his signature line. Okay. I've done it both ways many times. Okay. You can do it that way. All right. Now, if the homeowner sees that you're making money, that should not be a surprise to them.
Because they already know that the tenant buyer is going to be paying a fee for being part of my program.
Exactly. And that they'll see that that's being credited towards the purchase price for them too. Okay. Right. So I don't get a whole lot of questions or objections at this point, mostly because I'm working with motivated sellers. It's not, they're not worried about what's in it for me. They're worried about what they're getting, and they're getting out. They're walking away, or something good's happening for them too. So, not really a big problem
deal
for. Yeah.
Okay.
So Justin, a lot of times you let them know you're making $15,000 on the house.
Sure. Why not? Why not? Yeah. They got absolutely everything they asked for. They got the purchase price they were asking for. Maybe they got a little down payment too. They got a deposit.
So if they see that, a lot of times do they ask for, well,
I want bigger than that.
On payment.
I've had it happen one time in my career. One time I had it happen once, and it was a surprise to me. You know, maybe you might be one of those people who's unlucky and finds 2 in your first year, but I'm telling you, it's not a normal reoccurring problem for me. If it was, I would find another way to do it where it wasn't a problem, but it isn't already much of an issue. I hope that helps. Plus, too, in the flex option agreement memo, the very first document that you use, the permission slip to get started with the homeowner, it says right in there that if the homeowner objects to your paperwork, that we're free to use his or hers.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So if you're worried about your rental agreement, just say, hey, Mr. Homeowner, do you have a rental agreement that you prefer be used in that house, in that county, in that area? No, you don't? Okay, I have one I'll provide.
Okay.
Okay. If they say, yeah, I've got one, fine. It's just a rental agreement. You're not going to be living there anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I hope that helps, Sandra.
It does help. But Justin, let me, sorry, I'm asking
It's
a lot
okay.
of questions, but
You're fine.
So, because I saw that in one of your videos that you were mentioning that, a lot of times, the homeowner will assist you. They will actually show the property to the tenant buyer, and
Yeah.
you obviously will have them sign a paper where they're not interfering and, with your business and stuff like that. That I understand it.
Yeah.
So if the homeowner does not live in the state that the property and a tenant buyer are located in, do you suggest using a lockbox or hiring a real estate agent to show the property?
Yes. Lockbox, first and foremost, the best.
Okay.
Homeowner, number 2.
But they're not in the state though with the property.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're not in the state where the property is located.
Yeah.
So lockbox, and then, or what about an agent? Because who's gonna put the lockbox on that property if the homeowner doesn't live in that state?
You get a relative or something, because I did a property in Albany and I'm in McDonough.
Uh-huh.
And the lady's sister.
Oh, you're in Georgia?
Of course.
Oh, okay. I am too. Okay.
I was wondering.
Sorry, go ahead.
That's why I kept saying that. But anyway, I'm in McDonough, and the property I did was in Albany.
Mm-hmm.
So the lady's sister, she was in Iowa. So we talked to the lady's sister. We sent her a lockbox, and she put the lockbox on for us and gave us the code. So, I mean,
okay.
That's why it's best.
All
it's
right.
always ask your questions in the Facebook group or
right. All right. So I think that's it. Thank you. That really clarified things.
Yeah, cool, Sandra. Here's what I asked the homeowner. Mr. Homeowner, what was your plan on folks being able to access the property to take a look at the inside? That's it.
Okay.
That's it.
And then give them the option. Okay.
He's going to say, well, I'm out of town. I don't even live there. And the house is all locked up and everything. Okay, well, does somebody around there have a key? Your brother, your cousin, your sister, your bartender friend, your hairdresser, who around there has a key? Okay. I mean, certainly they have a plan. If they don't have a plan, and I've had to say this a few times in my career, Mr. Homeowner, you don't have a key, you don't have a plan for getting anybody in there. How were you expecting to sell this place?
Right.
See, those are all problems that are his problems, really.
Right.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem, Sandra. Anybody else real quick before we close up for today? Been a long session. Thanks for your patience, everybody. Anybody else? Okay.
So
go ahead, Vernon.
Yeah, so you just mostly everybody use Craigslist and Zillow as far as with their scraping and lists, or they use some other kind of list source?
I use PropStream.
Yeah.
PropStream.
Yep, that's a popular one. I'm into PropStream myself. I also scrape Zillow and Craigslist both. That's the thrust of my particular marketing at this season. But yeah, PropStream's a great source. If I would recommend PropStream over ListSource or List USA or whatever it is,
What about the Z-Buyer? Z-Buyer seems very expensive.
Z-Buyer is good. Okay. But you're only going to do probably 1 or 2 deals a year off of it.
Yeah, but they want almost like.
It was $500-600 a month when I asked.
Right.
Yeah,
That's a lot.
It's ridiculous. Yeah, and I found it to be geared a lot towards the realtor game.
Okay.
But the realtor game, what's geared for the realtor game is oftentimes also nicely geared for the creative real estate investor. Okay. So I can't throw shade at it completely, but it's not something that if I had 500 a month that I'm going to be like, oh, I'm going to start with Z Buyer. Okay. Cause that's, you're going to fail. You're not going to get enough activity to keep it going.
I got a question quick.
Okay, Steve.
Regarding this automated REI, is anybody having a situation where you can only do one scrape for Zillow at a time? Like in a 24-hour basis?
No, I haven't.
I got that last night.
Okay. Do you have 2C's direct phone line?
Yeah, I'm going back and forth with that pug guy. He's ready to kill me.
Is it? Oh, so you are talking to him though?
Yeah, we're going back and forth. I mean, I've had some other issues with this thing, and I'm whatever. Okay, as long as I got all kinds of error messages yesterday on this. It just said that you can't do more than one scrape at a time. So I'm like, all right.
Okay.
And that was it for 24 hours, and I had to wait to do another one. So I haven't opened it up today.
Must be something going on with them.
I don't know.
I will let you know that there are some other folks in the room that are using Text Magic and love it. It's free to sign up as well. Text Magic, and they love it. I'm not trying to tell people to abandon automated REI, because even if you're using Text Magic, it might be a good place to buy lists or skip trace. It also might be a good place to do your scraping of Zillow and Craigslist, and then use Text Magic to actually blast. It's got a lot of cool features, but they're adding some cool features to automated REI too, like a notification of new leads and shit like that's coming in, or I think it started this week. So yeah. So Text Magic, check it out, guys. If you're struggling with automated REI and you don't like it for some reason, lots of good. Rick, give us the promo. Rick, do you have an affiliate link for Text Magic?
No, but I should.
You should, dude.
Text Magic, I mean, is cool. Their app is great, where you could reply directly on your phone. It's a pay-as-you-go type of program. There's no monthly to use the service. It's pretty much, you can get virtual phone numbers for, I think they're like $4 a month, and the text for outgoing text is a little bit higher at 4 cents, but no charge, I don't believe, for incoming text. But yeah, I really, I've used them for a long time. I'm shifting a lot of business over into like my CRM that has a built-in text, but I still use Text Magic, and it's very user-friendly and easy to set up. And you can blast with it, just the same. You don't have to click. So
yeah.
What are you scraping with Text Magic?
No, you don't scrape with Text Magic. Text Magic is just a texting platform. I'll scrape in PropStream, or you could use the automated REI, then skip trace, and then you can pretty much use Text Magic for everything else.
Quick question: is anybody using automated REI for skip tracing?
I have, yeah. It's good. The tier 3 stuff. I think they did away with tier 1 and 2, and they just have tier 3 now. Tier 3 is good data. It's same kind of stuff you're going to get from PropStream or ListSource or somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got a question for Justin. You're Rick. Do you ever get any vacant lists from your title company?
I'm sorry, say again?
Do you ever get any vacant expired lists from your title company?
No, I mean, I got
access to all that stuff. I forgot.
Yeah, no, I haven't really gone that way before, but I mean, you could. The more positive relationships you have going out, it could potentially mean the more potential leads coming in. So it's probably worth a shot for sure.
Yeah. Remember, a lead is a lead is a lead, whether that's a data as you skip traced, or whether that's a scrape of Zillow or Craigslist, or whether that's a Facebook group marketing strategy you're doing, putting it in groups and getting leads, or whether you're texting or messaging for rents on Marketplace on Facebook, all of those create leads. And leads, I'll tell you one thing about leads. They look really nice when I stack them all up real nice and I get the edges straight and everything. And then I set them on my desk. It gives me that warm feeling inside. And then I go watch TV.
Oh boy.
That's self-discipline right there.
There it is. Got to get back to the self-discipline. Love you guys. Have a blessed rest of your day. Thanks for sitting in your chair and staring at the screen so long. Your eyeballs are fried and your ass hurts, I'm sure. But I love you. Thank you for it so much. Have a blessed rest of your weekend. Today is Signature Saturday, guys. Get on the phone. Call a lead or two and ask the question. If you don't ask, you don't get. Anybody else? Any last thing? Talk to you guys soon. Have a great rest of your weekend. See you next week.
Thanks, Justin.
Thank you.
See you guys.